Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment. We're back for yet another segment of our album draft through the decades with my good friend Sam St. John, aka Americana Sam, and my buddy Doc, north of the border. Doc, you guys still thinking about annexing Maine as one of your provinces?
Most definitely. Most
That would
definitely.
be great. I mean,
Coming in hot and heavy.
I could really use the health care and cheaper.
They want the lobster really bad. Yeah.
And they're joining me for my draft of our top 10 albums for each decade, working our way from the 1960s all the way through the 2010s. This time, we're entering the 2000s, a decade of indie rock explosions, pop punk dominance, and an unfortunate rise in auto-tune abuse. Sticking to our snake draft format, which means tonight, Doc has the first pick. I go second. Sam, you will get the third pick. And then with the snake draft, you'll get the first pick in the next round. It's really a wild time for music here, Doc. You know, I'm kind of wondering whether or not you're going to be aiming for any type of progressive metal. Maybe, I don't know, Sam. I figured Sam might try a little Johnny Cash in this one, but we'll see. And I could probably go for just about anything. I might be the only one to go for any hip hop, but we'll see anyway. So drop your comment down below with your top 10 albums from 2000 and what you would pick first, and also select which one of us you thought had the better draft. Like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell if you don't want to miss an episode. So, all right, guys, we'll probably get started here somewhere. iPod Shuffle is ready for this recording. So, Doc, you get the first pick, my buddy.
Here we go. 2000 to 2009.
There you go.
The only prefaces I'd have to this whole part would say something like this. My life changes in the 2000s. You know, family, life, kids, marriage, that whole part happens. And so does my music. And when I get there, it shrinks and I stay in my lane and I don't go inside it too much. That's all I'm going to say. So
okay.
Even shrinks more, I guess. But I'm going to start off with number one. I'm going to take The Rising from Bruce Springsteen on my first pick.
Wow. I like that pick.
Very good.
Excellent. I did have it on my list.
Did you?
Yeah, that's a great pick, man. I mean, there's a lot of good tunes on there. It had
very good.
Yeah, it has the Fuse is on there. That was featured.
Yeah, the Fuse.
Fifth Hour soundtrack.
Yeah.
Spike Lee.
Title track. It's great
tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. All right, I got the second pick. Guys, I'm going to go kind of a little different here because I feel like a lot of my other picks are safe. But this one here, I'm not sure whether it'd be safe or not. So I'm going to go ahead and take Back to Black from Amy Winehouse. I think it was maybe some of the most original material that I heard, especially in the 2000s, which was kind of bogged down by really weird rock music in the early part of it and hip hop. So, and then she came along and it was, you know, bouffant hairdo and high pumps, and it looked like a hooker singing, early 40s and 50s blues, and it was great. I loved every minute of it. So I'm gonna take Amy Winehouse right here.
Good pick. It is.
All right, Sam, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, to play it safe. Again, I don't know that this one would be safe or not. I don't think I know your taste that well, but my first pick is going to be 2004's American Idiot by Green Day.
Nice.
That's one of those bands that people are surprised that I like, but I like them a lot, and even their most recent album I think is in the running for their best.
Yeah.
So just American Idiot. It's a full force rock and roll record. I love it.
Nice. That's a really good pick, and that's a surprise. I would have thought Doc would have pulled the trigger on something like that before Sam would have done, but I guess I don't know.
Well, I'm sure Doc's thinking he would have had a chance coming back down the ladder. That he'd still be
there. All right, Sam, do some more damage to Doc here. Make him feel bad.
Yeah,
that fourth pick great. Overall.
Yeah, for another, I guess like newer band from the time period. I mean, I know that was Green Day's 6th or 7th album. They had a bunch of kind of bootleg records in the early 90s. But the next one I'm going to go with is kind of in that alternative indie vein, and that's going to be 2004 as well. Hot Fuss by The Killers, one of the best debut albums I think ever. I've got to thank my friend Chris from college is the one who really got me into that album, and just Andy, You're a Star, and Natalie, Mr. Brightside, their biggest hit is on there.
Brandon,
all these things,
incredible.
Yeah, all these things that I've done, just great stuff. Kind of mixes that Heartland Springsteen-y kind of stuff.
Yeah.
and brings it into the 21st century at that point. So Hot Fuss is number 2.
That's excellent pick. Something again on my list, wherever I could possibly get it. So I got the 5th pick overall here in this for the second round. I'm gonna go with Beck's Sea Change. This was a bit of a change up album for him. He had just broken up with his girlfriend who had cheated on him with another musician. They didn't go into details about it. So most of the material on here is about that breakup and his relationship with that girl. But completely different considering the wild experimental stuff that Beck was doing in the 90s. For him to come out and make such a sincere album that you could just feel, the heartache with every song was just amazing. Lost Cause is just a wonderful track, so I can highly recommend that album, Sea Change by Beck. So
cool.
Doc, 6th pick.
I don't want to say the wrong thing there, but I had friggin' American Idiot and I had the Killer's Hot Fuzz on my list.
Man, who would have thought?
Who would have thought, eh? I should take Dylan just to irk you. But
had a couple. They had a couple.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Arcade Fire's Funeral.
Nice.
My 2nd pick.
That's an excellent pick.
Yeah. I like Neighbors and Rebellion and Wake Up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty solid album, if you want the truth. I love the sound. It's got that Floydish sound that they have in the background there. I really like that. So,
yeah, a lot of people argue about whether that or the Suburbs is their best. I would go with Funeral.
I think Funeral's better.
I'd go Funeral.
That's me.
But yeah, and you also get the 7th pick, Doc.
I think I'm going to take it just because I've got a feeling like somebody else will probably take it if I don't take it. And that's probably the way I'm going to do this. So, and it's not like it's in my sweet spot or anything else like that. It's like a couple of tunes off this album, but the album itself is pretty solid overall. But a couple of the ones on it, I really like the song. So I am going to go with, you didn't see this coming, I'm sure, but I'm going to go Coldplay, A Rush of Blood to the Head.
Wow.
That's an excellent pick, Doc. I had it high on my list.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
The Scientist, I think, is
fantastic.
Such a well-written song.
Yeah, I agree.
I just talked to a buddy of mine this week about The Scientist, and Willie Nelson has a really poignant cover of it.
Oh, yeah?
About it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing song. Amazing song. Doc, I didn't see that coming for you, but that's great, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the surprise of it. For me, I got the 8th pick overall. I'm here in the 3rd round. I guess I'm going to go ahead, and this is one I thought you were going to take early, Doc. I'm going to take Toxicity from System of a Down.
On my list, but I have it a little further down.
Yeah,
that's all.
Got my a little bit of ultra thrash going there. The
a little heavier, eh?
Yeah, Chop Suey just kind of like jumps right in there. I remember that music video was all over MTV too, man, and it was just wild. I have an English professor from high school that agreed to play drums for this very young band in the college town that he was retired in, and he called me up and said, he goes, have you ever heard of this song Chop Suey? I go, you have to play the drums on that. And wow. I was like, good luck, buddy, good luck. So that's what I'm going to take, System of a Down.
Cool.
Sam, back to back for you again, number 9, number 10.
Yeah, I'm going to stick kind of into the similar wheelhouse again, kind of keeping more, modern bands of the time. I'm going to go 2003's Welcome Interstate Managers, Fountains of Wayne.
Oh, nice.
Again, anybody that knows me or has watched, I've done like a spotlight on Fountains of Wayne. I've talked about their last album, which, may make an appearance next decade. But this is the one that kind of pushed them into that next sphere, I guess, of touring. This had Stacy's mom on it, which, it's what it is. But the songwriting on this album is really good. Hey Julie was featured in the show Scrubs.
Yep. Favorite songs.
Hackensack is on here, which is a great tune. There's a mix of, power pop, some nice ballads, some kind of them trying to do like a grunge song, I think. But it's just a really, really solid album. So nice. Welcome Interstate Managers from 2003.
Excellent. What about that number 10 pick?
I am going to go, let's see here. I'm going to, again, kind of same thing, sticking to modern artist. I'm going to go with Plans from 2005, Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah.
Again, that's the one that has their biggest hit, which is I Will Follow You Into the Dark.
Right.
But it's also got stuff like Brothers on a Hotel Bed is a great song. Crooked Teeth, Stable Song. It's just got some really, really good stuff on here. And, Ben Gibbard took a lot of inspiration from Brian Wilson and those songwriters, but, he kind of started like that emo,
yeah,
mournful teenage kind of ballady stuff. But I like Plans a lot. So that's my fifth pick.
excellent.
Or fourth pick, I should say.
Yeah, round 4. Yep, 10th overall pick. All right, it's my turn again. I'm going to go ahead here and pull that trigger on In Rainbows from Radiohead.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's their third best album, obviously behind the two I took in the 90s, OK Computer and The Bends. It's really, really nice songs on here. And it was a little bit more accessible for an electronica album than Kid A was to me. I'm a huge Radiohead fan, and even I have a trouble listening to Kid A all the way through if I'm not in the right mood. So I'm going to put In Rainbows here. Doc, what about you at number 12?
I think I'm going to go with just a couple more. That way, an easier ride on the way out, I think. So I'll go One by One by the Foo Fighters.
Ooh, there you go. That's a good album.
Yeah, it is a good album, actually.
Yeah.
For like the rock thing for the last 25, 30 years, there hasn't been like too many consistent guys. I have a couple on my list. This is one of them. The Foo Fighters is still kind of pumping up, I'll say, somewhat rock music here for the last little while. And one of my other bands I have on my list that hopefully I'll get a chance to pick. They'll be on my list as well. But that's the only thing that's really kind of stuck with me, if you want the truth. So, but in that realm, outside that, I move into the pop or the maybe even the softer side, depends what it is. But we'll see what it is.
Excellent. What about that number 13 pick?
I think I'm just going to do it, man. All That You Can't Leave Behind by U2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
To me, maybe the end of my U2 love in a lot of senses, but some catchy songs. Obviously, I had a wedding song off this album, and, but it was a beautiful day, yes. Yeah. But there's other songs in there, even like not the big hits and stuff like that. Elevation's pretty big and stuff like that.
Great tune.
Yeah, great tune. Yeah, there's some good music here on this last catchy U2 hit for me. So
right, good pick. All right, back around to me. I guess what would this be? This is my fifth pick right here. I guess I'll go ahead and honestly, I didn't think this would even still be available. I'm going to go ahead and take Johnny Cash's American Recordings 4. That's The Man Comes Around.
Yep.
It's my favorite of the series. I've ran the whole series. Obviously, it has the title track, but also renowned for its cover of Nine Inch Nails' "Hurt," which essentially Trent Reznor gave over to Johnny and said it was no longer his song, it was Johnny's song after he performed it. And I think that even if you don't like Trent Reznor or even not a fan of Johnny Cash, I mean, I can't see people not liking that song, not like, understanding how heartfelt it was sung. And Rick Rubin's, stripped down production was perfect for Johnny for that stretch of music. So
yeah,
Man Comes Around.
Good pick.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. All
right, let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and take one of my legend performers now. That's going to be it's actually probably in my top 3 or 4 of his albums for me. And that's Tom Petty's Highway Companion from 2006.
Right.
His last solo album, it was produced by Jeff Lynne, but it doesn't have necessarily that Jeff Lynne sound. It's like when it came out, people kind of considered it a mix of like Wildflowers and Full Moon Fever.
Yeah.
Again, it's just Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne, Mike Campbell, and then a couple of other guys like on percussion on like a song or two. But it's got some great stuff. Like the opening track, Saving Grace, is just
Saving Grace is like a boogie rock track.
Oh yeah,
it's just incredible. Yeah,
and I think Petty is on the drums too. It's he's hitting those cymbals. Like it's and that was, I think, probably the last Petty track that was like regularly played on classic rock radio before he was too old for radio. So Highway Companion from 06.
Excellent. Now we're in number 16th overall pick for you.
Yeah, and I've got to go with my guys here who, they're one of my favorite bands. I knew y'all weren't going to pick them, but I've got to go with the Avett Brothers, I Am Loving You from 2009.
Mm-hmm.
That's their first, official record with a major label. It was with Rick Rubin, American Recordings,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been with them ever since. That's a pretty good track record. 16 years now they've been with Rick Rubin, and some of their biggest live stuff is on here. I mean, the title track, Kick Drum Heart, Laundry Room, January Wedding, just all sorts of great stuff on here. So
excellent.
I Am Loving You from 09.
I like the Avett Brothers. I love their song No Hard Feelings.
Yeah.
Amazing song. All right, back to me again. Here's where I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. I know you guys wouldn't even come near it. Let's put aside the fact that this guy needs to stay on his lithium. I'm taking Kanye West, The College Dropout. Obviously,
let me mark that off.
Yeah, that's
hang on. That's good.
Oh wow! I mean, it's his debut album. It's some of the most creative stuff that you'll ever hear. When I heard the album, I just couldn't believe how creative he was, and he really kind of modernized and made this the term chipmunk soul a household thing. It's where they take old R&B songs and they speed them up to where it sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunk, and they loop that track in the background, and that's what creates his sound. It's an incredible original idea. People just mimicked the hell out of him after he did that for that album.
Yeah.
But College Dropout's my favorite Kanye album, so I'm gonna take it right here.
Very good.
All right, Doc.
My tears.
Yeah, you guys all upset about that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sam's wiping my tears for me too, Big.
I am. Yeah, all the way down here in Virginia.
Thanks, buddy. I think this is where I'm going to go right back to my wheelhouse. I'm going to run it out that way, I think, buddy. So I'm going to go Stiff Upper Lip from AC/DC.
Ooh. I forgot they had an album in the early 2000s.
Oh, they got a few.
Yeah.
The Black Ice came out that decade too, so there's a couple in there. But Stiff Upper Lip sounds like almost 70s AC/DC, man.
Yeah.
It's got that heavier riff kind of sound to it. And, Safe in New York City, and Stiff Upper Lip, the title track. And, hey man, Satellite Blues, that's a really good tune too, man. So yeah, AC/DC will probably always hit with me at one level or another.
Excellent. What about that 19th pick then?
I better keep it with my boys. So I'm going to go with Blender from Collective Soul.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, guys, if you've seen enough of these, I like my Collective Soul. But this is a darker side Collective Soul. This is like they're like pissed off almost kind of music, and it shows, and it's a little heavier for them, and it's but also it does have a wedding song in there, Perfect Day, that the duet with Elton John on this album as well, which is really a cool tune too. So, but I think the album's solid all the way through, man. I like all my Collective Soul, to be honest with you. That's just personal.
So did your wife get to pick any of the music at that?
Not one song, man.
That's what I kind of figured. I just wanted to make sure. So. All right. I didn't figure that. So all right. So I'm here at the 20th overall pick. We're in the middle of the 7th round here. Man, you guys are like killing me here. But I'm gonna take I don't like very much of this particular genre, which is post-hardcore. But the band Brand New, I really do like their material. And they had their pinnacle album that I love is called The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. Just really, really great album through and through. It's got a nice mixture of, very alt rock, post-hardcore, but then also some acoustical stuff where they kind of dial it down. Great song on there called Jesus Christ. It was about an auto accident that they had, I guess, on prom night where they lost a classmate and stuff. Really, really good stuff. If you guys haven't heard it, or at least check it out. And if you don't listen to much post-hardcore, so that was my pick for 7th round. Sam, we're with you now.
Well, I've got to go with this is probably I could have 100 different classic rock albums on this list, but this would be the album that people would say, I'm not going to take Sam's list because of this artist. Yeah, you might know who I'm talking about. 2006, considered by many to be his magnum opus. I happen to like two other albums a lot more, but 2006, John Mayer, Continuum. This is about the time that he was really becoming superstar level. But he was also hanging out in the John Mayer trio, which he had a couple of cats that have, they've put in work. Steve Jordan on drums, who's played with everybody, and Pino Palladino, who took over for John Entwistle on the Who. So he wasn't playing with slouches. I mean, he was hanging out with Don Was, Phil Ramone, people like that. And this album has, the John Mayer hits that people hate, but it's also got some bluesy stuff like Vultures. Listen to Vultures. And if you put Eric Clapton's voice over that, people would love it. But because it's John Mayer, they hate it. But listen to that guitar lick on Vultures, and it's great blues. And even the song Gravity, which is on this album, it's just a fantastic record, the way it's produced. So Continuing from 06.
You just won my daughter's vote for best.
Oh, well, good.
She absolutely loves this album. Absolutely adores John Mayer. So
it was a massive album.
Yeah.
Massive.
You also get that 22nd overall pick, Sam.
All right, so this is my eighth album here. I'm gonna go back again and kind of go more modern, which has kind of been the theme for me. I'm gonna go 2009's "Sigh No More" by Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
It's their debut. Funny enough, they actually have an album coming out this week or next week.
Rushmere. Is that what it's called?
Rushmere. Yeah, they were just on the Tonight Show, and they've already started the tour, but yeah, them and like the Lumineers in 2009, 2010 started what they called like stomp folk, which is they could get big crowds going with bringing back like a folk revival, which they're in a time when you do have your Kanye Wests and early Lady Gaga and Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, people doing that at that time. It's like, oh, there's still people that play acoustic instruments and banjos. So Sigh No More, it was a huge album. Huge.
Nice. Great picks. Very much in your wheelhouse there.
Yeah.
I got the 23rd overall pick. We're here in the 8th round. Here, I'm going to go ahead and take maybe the first progressive metal album that we've taken. I'm taking Tool's Lateralis here. Concept album from Maynard and the Boys. Just absolutely incredible. The title track, Lateralis, is actually put together using the Fibonacci sequence, which is, so basically becomes math rock at that point, or math metal, if you want to categorize this as a metal album. I'm a big, huge Tool fan, big fan of Danny Carey on the drums. Everybody, though, is like an absolute ace at their instrument, which, Justin Chancellor, and I'm trying to remember the other guy. I think it's Adam Scott is the lead guitarist, his name. And then, of course, Maynard himself on lead vocals. Great band, very meticulous. And this album is a masterpiece, in my opinion. So,
Doc. And they're pretty good fans. They like their Rush. Eh? So
they sure do. Yes, they do.
They do, buddy. Yeah, so. They're a pretty tight musician team. That's a big band, man. That's what you want with a band like that.
Right. Somebody correct me if I got it wrong on the lead guitars. I think that's the right name, but
I'm not sure. I mean, Carey obviously on drums. Yeah, that's the head. Yeah.
All right, Doc. 24th pick.
So I collected Soul Blender. My last pick. They just did their 30th anniversary, and I'm going to take somebody else who's doing their 30th anniversary this year. Who's actually touring with Collective Soul. So, but it's a Canadian band. So, but it's Our Lady Peace. Healthy and Paranoid Times is the name of the album, and there's some really the album's really solid. This is what I can tell you. I love the album, and it's got one of my top 10 songs probably of the decade off this album too. So Angels Losing Sleep, I think it's just I'll be honest with you, I sang it to my kids for 10 years, man. So I love this tune. So makes it for that reason, man.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. So you're supposed to pick.
You're keeping it real with your Canadian band. So there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the hip couldn't make my top 10 in this decade, but I had to drop this in Our Lady. Yeah.
What about the 25th pick then?
This is where I'm happy I'm allowed to have a live album or so in here, buddy. So in the year 2000, It's the hit factory and the hit machine. Roger Waters is not everybody's hit. I get it, but in the flesh, that live album is just smoking, man. This is the best of the best of Floyd in the '70s. Off Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, Dark Side. Does it all. Pick every hit off that, and his own hits, like From Abuse to Death and Perfect Sense. It's a miracle. It's a smoking album, man, and it's. Placement's one thing. I didn't think you guys were going to take it, so that's why I left it towards the end. And I know you're taking my number 10, so I'll tell you that. So
right.
But I felt good putting that one towards the end. But yeah, it might be my number 1 album of the decade. So
wow, good strategy then to wait till the end.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Here we go. A lot of this stuff I was like, wow, I'm kind of surprised. I got a shot at this stuff. With the 9th pick, I think I'm going to go ahead and take from 2000. I'm going to take the Old Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack. Came out then. I did verify that. And they, it's got that great. It's all old timey songs that are sung by contemporary people, and it's just all incredible. I mean, Alison Krauss is featured on there. The Soggy Bottom Boys, which quasi fictional band, but actually made up of real musicians. And George Clooney and them get to lip sync to it. That was kind of funny. I thought was hilarious. Great movie, but a better soundtrack. I think even if you don't like bluegrass, you would absolutely love. You'd love this album. So highly accessible. All right, Sam, your last couple picks, buddy.
Well, I should say, just to piggyback off of our brother Art Thou, the lead singer of the Soggy Bottom Boys is Dan Tyminski, who played with Alison Krauss in Union Station. He is from Franklin County, Virginia, which is only about 30 minutes from me.
Nice.
And he's also the lead singer for the contemporary folks that watch this, all 2 of you. He's the lead singer of the song Hey Brother, which Avicii had a big hit with like in 2013 or 14. Same guy. So anyway, there's your fun fact.
All right. Good stuff.
All right. My numbers 9 and 10. And again, this no particular order here because I've kind of got free range here. I'm trying not to double up on artists. There are a couple albums here that I would like to double up on, but I'm going to go with the debut from Old Crow Medicine Show. It's simply just the initials OCMS for Old Crow Medicine Show. Came out in 2004, produced by David Rawlings, who's the spouse of Gillian Welsh. Big Americana duo. They've been around for 20-something years. She's also on the Old Brother Art Thou soundtrack. But this was the album that had Wagon Wheel, which has become like a bar staple. It's right up there with, Friends in Low Places. You can hear it at every bar you go into. But again, bringing that folk stuff out into the general public. Old Time, they were discovered by Doc Watson. It's a mix of covers and originals. Just really, really good stuff. And also proud Virginians. So very happy to represent them. From 2004, they just put out a remaster for the 20th last year. And then my number 10, my final album here, I've got to do it. 2001, Love and Theft by Bob.
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering if you're going to take a Bob.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of albums in the 2000s that did it much for me. I love Modern Times, but a lot of these albums I like so much more. But Love and Theft, it's got a great sound to it. It was actually released on 9/11, 2001, so it didn't have the kickstart that it probably should have had. But It's got some great stuff on there. It's kind of Dylan with his revival that he started back 4 years prior with Time Out of Mind. But Love and Theft, the song Mississippi on that is beautiful. So
it's a great tune.
There you have it.
All right. So Sam's all wrapped up here. I've got one more pick to go. This one I'm really on the fence about what to take because I got wide open here. I'm going to take, honestly, the Fleet Foxes debut album, self-titled debut.
Yeah.
I really like it. I was between this and Bon Iver's For Emma Forever Ago. I was debating, but I'm going to go with Fleet Foxes. I like that album just a little bit better. I figure Sam might even. I thought you would have taken this, Sam, was why I was like.
It's one it's hit or miss for me. Right. Yeah. It's a little slow for me.
But that's what I'm going to finish up with. So, Doc, you get to close us out with the final pick.
Final pick, nobody saw coming. And it's another live album, and it's a bit of band that I don't talk much about, but I love the band. If you want the truth, so but I'm taking "Homecoming" from Nazareth.
Okay. Homecoming.
It's a smoking album, man. Razzmatazz, Holiday, This Flight Tonight.
What year did that come out? Do you know?
Love Hurts, 2002.
2002. Okay.
Yeah, it's a live album that they filmed back home in Scotland, and it's if you like Nazareth, if it's an acquired taste on his voice, I get that. But they're a rock band, man, and it's
If you listen,
this is a rock album.
If you listen to their Hair of the Dog album, it is a solid album. It's
Totally.
not just those two hits. I mean, it's a lot of great songs on there.
Yeah. This one's full of great tunes on this live album, man. It's a fantastic live album. That's what I'll tell you.
Nice.
It was between this and 12 Gardens for Billy Joel and where I was going to go, but I went here.
All right. All right. Well, that's a surprise. It's a surprising all around draft for me. Honestly, the biggest surprise was, Sam. I thought Sam would take "Oh Brother" or he would take American Recordings away from me, and I was like, so I wasn't sure when to pull the trigger on those. And then there was a couple of picks by you guys that I was really surprised by. So that's really cool, guys.
Yeah, I think a few surprises throughout the whole decade. If you want the
yeah,
it was fun.
It's a lot of music,
and really not a lot of pop taken in there by anybody. I guess by this point we're all realizing that pop radio doesn't have it.
It's starting to do this.
Yeah. I would have been really disappointed in Doc if he took Linkin Park.
No, nobody.
Anyway, down below, make sure you guys list your top 10. Let us know who won this little contest. It depends on what kind of music you like, I suppose. Who won the contest? And so, since I'm the flake job of the trio, that probably I'm not going to ever win this thing. But that's fine.
It's to each their own, buddy. It's to each their own.
Fans come out.
Exactly. Steve from All the World, formerly of All the World, he never forgave me for liking The Long Run as the best album of the Eagles, so he doesn't live that down.
I think he's going to give you a lot of love for the Kanye West.
He's definitely not going to give me any love for the Kanye West. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. Like, sub, and comment, like I said before, and enjoy your weekend. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Okay, stop recording. Good.